This is a Fox News alert. The Trump administration just announced the winners of the hotly anticipated fake news awards. Chief national correspondent Ed Henry is at the White House with the results on the red carpet. Hey, Ed.
Tucker, good to see you. As you know, there's been this anticipation. What will the president do? He's been teasing this out for a couple of weeks now.
Hold it now.
Starting with number 5, the president calling out the Washington Post for, in his words, falsely reporting a massive sold-out rally in Pensacola, Florida, as being empty. He says a dishonest reporter showed a picture hours before the event started, and it was much, much bigger. Number 4, Time magazine falsely reporting that the president removed a bust of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. from the Oval Office. Remember, this was something that Time reported literally day 1, day 2 of this administration. It was a fake story.
A reporter falsely tweeted out that the bust of Martin Luther King Jr. had been removed from the Oval Office. After it was pointed out that this was just plain wrong, the reporter casually reported and tweeted out and tried to claim that a Secret Service agent must have just been standing in front of it.
In the Oval Office, we have a beautiful bust of Dr. Martin Luther King. And they took that bust and they said that I removed it. I never removed it. In fact, I admired it when I first walked in. They said I walked in and I had it removed. And all of a sudden, there's major headlines all over the world that I removed the bust of Dr. Martin Luther King, which I'd never do because, again, a man that I have great respect for and have admired over the years greatly. And I call my people, why did you take that bust out? I wasn't here. Who took it out? I mean, believe me, I wasn't so nice. Who took it out? And they said, sir, it was never touched. In fact, they were all nervous. They said they ran to the office just to make sure. It turned out it was there. Well, the person that wrote this was Time magazine. The person that wrote this said, I removed the bust. It turned out that somebody was standing in front of the bust so that he couldn't see. The bust is this big, right? It's like that. Somebody was standing in front of it. That's fake news.
Number 3, CNN, in the words of the president, falsely reporting that candidate Donald Trump and his son Donald Trump Jr. had access to hacked documents from WikiLeaks before the public did. That was not true, had to be retracted as well.
This is CNN, home of fake news.
The breaking news this morning, we have to report a CNN exclusive in the Russia investigation.
And Donald Trump, his son Donald Trump Jr., and others in the Trump Organization, they received an email in September 2016 offering a decryption key and website address for hacked WikiLeaks documents.
But that, as CNN had to acknowledge, turned out to be wrong. The unsolicited email to Don Jr. actually came 10 days later. So, rather than offering secret access to undisclosed information, it simply pointed the campaign to hack messages that had already been made public.
CNN apologized just a little while ago. They apologized. Oh, thank you, CNN. Thank you so much. You should have been apologizing for the last 2 years.
Number 2, the president going after ABC News' Brian Ross. In the president's words, in this thing just tweeted out, Brian Ross, quote, chokes and sends markets in a downward spiral with false report. Remember, that was about retired General Michael Flynn and pleading guilty to that charge of lying to the FBI. Brian Ross suggesting that this dated back to actual collusion in the campaign. That had to be walked back. That was not true. The stock market crashed on that initial fake news. The president calling that out.
Oh, breaking news. ABC News' Brian Ross is reporting Michael Flynn promised full cooperation to the Mueller team and is prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. Yeah! He goes to jail. He goes to jail. He goes to jail. Lock him up. Lock them up.
Fake news fallout hitting ABC News after their chief political correspondent, Brian Ross, gives a faulty report on Michael Flynn.
The network now suspending Ross for 4 weeks, also issuing this apology. We deeply regret and apologize for the serious error we made yesterday. The reporting conveyed by Brian Ross during the special report had not been fully vetted through our editorial standards process.
Finally, number 1 in the president's estimation for the 2017 Fake News Awards. I know you've been waiting for this, Tucker. The New York Times' Paul Krugman, the columnist, claiming on the day of the president's historic landslide victory, in the president's words, the economy would never recover.
In 2008, Paul Krugman won the Nobel Prize in economics. Isn't it time he gets another? Remember what he said way back on Election Day? Quote, "It really does now look like President Donald J. Trump, and markets are plunging. When might we expect them to recover?" A first pass answer is never. That's pretty awesome for a garden gnome. But he's no garden gnome. He's a Nobel Prize winning economist. A garden gnome could run circles around this bearded butthead. And every time he gets it wrong, he gets a raise. So he must be loaded now, as the stock market broke 23,000 and filings for unemployment benefits plunged to the lowest level since 1973. So will Paulie admit how wrong he was? I doubt it. Look at him. Put simply, so many would rather see the economy crash than admit Trump's made it great. Just like those who'd rather ignore the defeat of ISIS than admit Trump's direct approach worked, or that his straight talk on North Korea has finally gotten China to act. But the Krugmans of the world see Trump behind every rainy day. After all, just weeks ago, Krugman blamed Trump for a non-existent cholera outbreak in Puerto Rico. He deserves another prize for that, too, or a pink slip. Bottom line, so many in the media have made a mint out of picking at wounds. Stories about kneeling, oppression, division, phone calls. But turn off that noise for a minute and ask yourself, has America changed much since the election as the economy grows and ISIS dies? Yes, it got better.